Welcome to Satsang. There is no greater knowledge but the knowledge of oneself. For without knowing yourself, you cannot know the world. And knowing yourself, you know the Lord. You know the self. You know reality. For knowing oneself is knowing the consciousness that is behind the mind, behind that which you take yourself to be, bound and limited to this mind body. As much as it is the simplest thing to know oneself as the consciousness, for there is only consciousness, as much as the difficulties in knowing that one is consciousness lies on the level of assuming that we are this mind body. For as long as you believe to be this mind body, you'll perceive a world and live in a world and live by the rules of a world that does not exist, other than within the objects of mind that you come to take for reality. When is it within a day that you realize that whatever is going on in your mind as a thought flows, you come to know that it is a thought flow alone, not reality. How is it that you come to know that you may be caught in the thought flow? If not by being subject to the thought flow, meaning you come to identify with the thoughts that are moving about in your mind, letting them drive your sense of self as you're letting them drive your sense of attention towards objects of thought that you come to believe to be your present situation, thereby arising as this I thought, this I that is bound by the mind body, therefore neglecting to abide and recognize yourself as the truth of yourself, as consciousness, as that which is aware that there may be or not a thought flow taking place. So as long as your attention is driven by thoughts, you come to live by the rules of the thoughts, thereby creating a false separation with your true self, as the self, as the consciousness that is at the heart of oneself, as the self that is at the heart not only of yourself alone, but that is at the heart of all selves, that is also at the heart of all existence, that is also at the heart of all thoughts, all sensations, all feelings, all worlds, of all experience. For all experience can only take place in the knowing of it. Whether you're caught in thoughts and feelings and sensations and emotions, there remains the knowing that such may be taking place on whatever level. the awareness of it all remains. That awareness remains the same, no matter what takes place on the surface as phenomena, whether it's on the level of the thoughts, the sensation, the feelings, whatever is taking place in your experience, there is experience because there is the awareness of it, first and foremost. An awareness that has been, that is, that will always be, no matter the experience. Whether you are aware of it or unaware of it, whether you know that you are aware of awareness, whether you understand perfectly that you are aware, first and foremost, awareness remains the primary element found in all experience. Therefore, to know oneself is to know that one is awareness alone, that everything is known by awareness, that everything is made out of awareness, without which nothing of this world would ever take place. Therefore, the only reality is awareness, is consciousness. From consciousness, everything is just a matter of perception. Everything seen as the world is but just a perception, not a reality. Only because you focus on certain thoughts that the world appears a certain way. And you come to take this so-called perceived world as a reality, when it only arises out of your perception, fixating on certain thoughts that you come to believe to be real, when none of it is real. When none of this perceived world is real. When the only reality there is consciousness. The infinity of being that you are, into which alone is found what we are longing for as a fullness of being, into which there is no lack. There is no sense of separation, no sense of division, no sense of impurity or even purity, no sense of ignorance, suffering, no sense of liberation or even enlightenment. There remains silence, fullness, harmony. And that alone is the peace, the grace that we are all longing for. So something greater than yourself is always the primary element taking place in yourself. Something greater than your sense of self attached to this mind body. For something remains aware of it at all times. Whether you're experiencing depression or happiness, something within this experience as awareness remains at all times. That alone remains aware of everything taking place as existence. Because it is the only thing that remains, it is the only reliable thing that one can hold on to in order to find a sense of balance, sense of peace, detachment, clarity. And yet the conditioning is so strong as to take oneself for this mind-body apparatus. It requires a certain practice. It requires that one comes to give all its attention and heart into recognizing and abiding as the truth that one is, in order for that to take over, where you no longer come to mistake yourself for the mind and body, where you come to live in a world that is also that is also consciousness. Then it's a beautiful world, and you live in the real world. Then you come to share that with the world, becoming an element of transformation, of light, of order and peace into the world. Your life becomes in service to the consciousness, naturally, spontaneously. There remains no one to be doing anything to change a world that can only be the world of consciousness already. Paradoxically, as much as you come to see the necessity to abide as yourself on a daily basis, as much as you will come to face all the tendencies that try to keep your attention away from abiding as yourself, thereby experiencing more of a stressful life for the time being. For all your latent tendencies will resist such recognition, such abidance in the truth of yourself, as if you were made out of different entities that wants to keep themselves alive, as if you were to be that conditioning, that ego self, that separate self. But when confronted to the truth of oneself, the conditioning can only desperately try to maintain itself, thereby experiencing anxiety, thereby even coming to believe even more into its thoughts about how it perceives itself and how it perceives the world, how it perceives life, creating further complications. And yet something as awareness will fortify itself. For you must be aware in order to see that mind activity only leads to confusion if taken for the only reality, of course. So on one side you'll come to experience much duality, much confusion, until you settle in the truth of yourself. And until you settle in the truth of yourself, as much as there won't be any release, as much as confusion will be thrown into your face, as much as life will present you circumstances that will challenge you, that will challenge your ability to be clear about yourself, about your intentions, your motive, about how you can actually relate with the truth of yourself and abide as the truth of yourself. So the stakes goes up in terms of becoming more of a mature person, more responsible person. For you must come to abide perfectly as the truth of yourself in order to see your life confirm that for yourself. So it is not a light task, and it is certainly not some kind of a spiritual fantasy, as if you were to become simply enlightened and live a beautiful life, be happy all the time. It is that there is nothing left to disturb your conviction that you are the consciousness, thereby remaining in peace, detached from anything of the mind and body and the world. There remains consciousness alone, and life is revealed as that alone. There remains consciousness as the only reality. That is true liberation. So no matter what's going on with your mind, the important thing is not to figure out why your mind is functioning in one way or another. Why are you having certain thoughts and not other thoughts? What's important is to understand that you are the awareness that is aware of the thought flow, and abide as that, and let that guide you through. For that alone will bring you clarity. That alone will bring about a thought flow that will respond accordingly. As much as you abide in awareness, as much as your thought flow will resonate accordingly, spontaneously, naturally, without anyone having to choose any particular thoughts, without anyone having to discriminate between bad and good thoughts, secondary thoughts or primary thoughts. Out of a place of awareness, everything takes its space of its own accord. So it's less a matter of wondering about what we should be doing in this life than to know oneself and abide as the truth of oneself. Here, abiding as the consciousness is not about denying what is perceived. There is nothing to deny. There is just a need for understanding. Understanding what it is that is taking place, actually, factually, here and now, on whatever level it is. If you perceive a world a certain way, then you should be aware that you choose to focus your attention into a particular direction and seeing a world accordingly. You may, yes, see certain things as facts, as, for instance, as for the madness that may be taking place in the world. But how you respond to this perception within you is what matters. For then you create your experience by choosing to have a certain perception or not of the world. So as long as you're aware of that, then you can maneuver yourself in a way that you can respect the clarity of your own self. And let that clarity guide you through. Everyone will admit that this world is a world of drama, of darkness, antagonism, of duality. And yet, why are you here? Why are we here? There's a reason to it. There's a reason why we choose to live here. So one must inquire as to why one is here, having to deal with this world of duality, this world of imagination, of darkness, of selfishness. As long as you abide by the rule of mind-body, you'll live a life of selfishness. But then you come to assume that you are the separate self, bound by the thoughts and the body, and will worry about the survival of such a separate sense of self that is led by its own transitory nature. For everything of mind will come and go, thereby experiencing a life of insecurity, instability, a life that leads nowhere, a life that always leads you to something more, greater relationship, as if something better will always be around the corner to be found, as opposed to what you don't want to have. All of the world of impermanence, all of a world that does not exist other than within the objects of thoughts inherent to the mind. So we've created this world of antagonism, selfishness, of duality, by assuming that we are this mind body, by assuming that what is perceived as thoughts, sensations, feelings is real, when none of it is real, when all of it is mere perceptions that you choose to give it a reality, thereby creating a world of matter, a world of objects, a world of thoughts, a world of sensation and feelings, resonating on a level of materiality, taking oneself as a material being, bound by this mind-body, while experiencing suffering, duality, while experiencing a world existing outside of oneself, as if such were the case. When all there is in truth in our experience, no matter the experience, is the knowing of it. That is awareness, that is consciousness. Consciousness alone is the truth. As much as you inquire into the nature of yourself, as much as you have a chance to factually acknowledge that you are awareness, first and foremost, and that the world is also awareness, as much as you abide in the truth that you are consciousness, as much as you're creating a life of consciousness, as much as consciousness is revealed to be the only reality. You come to fly, to abide as the light that you are. Then there is no problem. Then no problems affect you. Then all problems are seen as mere thoughts that you choose to be led by. You come to see that whatever thoughts takes place, must be taking place because you are there first as awareness, then you come to choose to stay as awareness or to let the thought drive your attention away from awareness, thereby imposing limitation onto yourself, thereby creating problems, thereby creating the notion that problems need to be resolved in order to be more happy. You stay put as awareness. Nothing needs to be added. Nothing needs to be discarded. Nothing needs to be any different than what it is. For then you are one with infinite being. Then matter is revealed as spirit. And there's no matter. So whether you tap into awareness as the background of all that exists, or that within existence you come to see that all phenomena underlies the knowing of it, you come to realize that all there is consciousness, in or out of existence. Whether you stand out of existence, whether you dive into existence as it is, there remains the awareness of it. For all is made out of awareness. Everything else is a mere coloring, a dance, a play. Nothing real in the play, other than a play. So you shall see your life as a play, whilst knowing that such a play is recognized as such a play because you are the consciousness that never goes anywhere. The consciousness that is and remain itself, forever at one with itself, within itself, for itself, by itself, forever the case. So it is the consciousness that seeks itself, within itself, for itself, by itself, at all times. Nothing personal. Everything on the level of the personal is a play taking place around consciousness as existence, all of a transitory nature, while you remain, while the I am remains. Therefore, knowing of that I am is the only important thing. You know that I am, you know the Lord. You know the Lord. You are free. You remain free. There is only freedom. That is peace of mind. That is everything you can be wishing for. That is the very longing of the soul. Until it is found, one will go round and around and around in existence, looking for something that will never come into existence until one comes back to oneself, until one comes to know oneself as the I am, as the consciousness, as the absolute, as the only reality. So no matter what takes place in your existence, as form, as the play of life, know that it is a play. Don't resist, don't pursue, don't fight. Accept it, see it for what it is. The more you see it for what it is, the more you abide as consciousness. The more existence points at consciousness, the more you are at one with consciousness. For existence is consciousness. No separation. And you can be assured of that life will challenge you more and more till you become one with the truth of consciousness. It won't be easy. It will be hard lessons, but only so that you can soften up within yourself. Let go of your notions of all things should or should be, of what you believe is good or not for you. For life alone knows what is good for you. You cannot know. From a place of identification with your mind and body. And if you have a doubt about that, about what it is you think is good for you or not, then ask yourself whether that is the truth. So you slowly soften up, slowly feel your way in, relaxing into your being as you are, independently of all thoughts, of all sensation, feelings. You melt with your being. You come towards yourself as being, as consciousness, awareness. So in order for the consciousness to take over your life, you must dive in completely, entirely, devote your entirety, the entirety of your life to it. Then and only then will it take over. Only then all latent tendency will subside, leaving you unbroken in the purity of your being, forever the case. Then no karma affects you, no world affects you, no thoughts, no feelings, no sensations will affect you. There will be no need for anything external. Whatever you'll need will come your way when needed, at the right time, right moment, under the perfect form. There will be no doubt, no longer any doubt as to who you are, as to what is this life about, as to what this entirety of the universe is made of. That the entirety of it all is consciousness, your own self. Advaita is seen as a path of discrimination, discrimination between what is mine and what is aware of mine. You follow the path of discrimination till you get familiar enough with the practice that no doubts ever come your way as to whether you are consciousness or not, as to whether you are consciousness, abide by consciousness, or you lose yourself in the mind, believing that you are the mind. All you got to do is ask yourself whether you're in the mind, taking the mind for yourself, or whether you are the awareness of the mind. You find this out here and now, then there is no problem at the level of the mind. And no, regardless of what takes place in your experience, it no longer concerns you. For whatever you may be concerned about only concerns the mind, not yourself. No matter the problematic, the confusion, the questioning, the doubt, it only pertains to that which you are not. Never that you are, that truth of yourself. For yourself is the only reality. Being the only reality, there cannot be any problems at all. Even if from a place of mind it's not possible to grasp at anything. But then again, you ask yourself, who wants to grasp at anything? Only the mind. You see the mind for the mind it is. There is no mind. You see the mind exactly as it is. There is no mind. No mind, no problem whatsoever. What we call space and time, that we take our life to be bound by, is merely sequences of thoughts. No thoughts superimpose over other thoughts, no such a thing as space and time. No thought superimpose over other thoughts, there remains space. Reality is seen as infinite. Into which you may focus on any thought you want. Into which you are free to think in any way you want. Into which you are the master of any thought you want. One's life always shape itself around the thoughts that we choose to have or focus on. For the purpose of thinking is to bring about manifestation into place. It's a great tool that we've got on this earth plane. One must know how to use it properly. Accordingly, one must understand how we bring manifestation into place through the way we think. So out of a place of consciousness, you're most likely to know exactly what thought is worth pursuing in order to get the result that you may feel to get in your life. For you must live in this world. So in order to find a life suitable for what feels right within yourself, you must recognize what are the thoughts that you should focus on as you discard the thoughts that are not serving you whatsoever. So as much as you must understand that you are the consciousness alone, as much as you must come to a place of perfectly mastering the way you think in order to bring about the manifestation into this life that suits your purpose on a soul level. For you have a purpose as a soul onto this earth plane. Everyone has a purpose. The greater you tap into the consciousness, the more clarity you come to have towards what feels right inwardly as a soul onto this earth plane. As much as you tap into the beyond, as much as you find the means to embody your soul purpose onto this physical plane, thereby blossoming out of a place of understanding the beyond that you are. All happening naturally, effortlessly, all will be revealed to you. So as much as you must get out of mind in order to recognize the truth of yourself, as much as a place of being yourself in truth, you can master your mind and create the life that suits you perfectly, not otherwise. As much as you tap into the truth of yourself, as much as the vitality may flow through your body, removing blocks of energy, enlightening all possible cells of your body, for you come to vibrate on a much higher level, for you come to abide as the consciousness that knows no boundaries, no limitations. So you come to fill your being of the immensity of life. You come to feed yourself of the nectar of immortality, infusing your whole being of the highest energy possible. You come to live into this world with greater power, out of a place of unselfishness, out of a place of oneness, of purity, of being. Any queries? You always have. It's good.
I guess I can ask a question. Yeah, for me, I feel like a large part of this is letting go of attachments to form, I guess you would say. And I'm wondering, where you think the place of things like mantra or visualization or other techniques are. I feel like you could, of course, just always come back to awareness and not get lost in anything coming up to the point where the tendencies start to dissolve over time. That's, of course, a very difficult thing to maintain. So I'm wondering, will you think of using other techniques as a way to help people just letting go and maybe advancing, yeah, practice?
Well, here, obviously, there is a practice. It's a direct path to know oneself as awareness, as that which is aware. Knowing oneself as being aware of that which is aware. Straight to the point that is consciousness, which can be applied to daily living at any time whatsoever. Now, there are, of course, countless practices, whichever one suits you the best, whichever one will be of benefit to you, you'll be attracted to naturally. So, in that regard, yes, feel inclined naturally, that will be the best thing for you. They are all tools. Sometimes you need a special tools for a certain thing. So the more you are sensitive to your being as you are, the more you'll feel inclined to use a certain tool for a specific situation or for a certain time of your life or circumstance.
Can you speak a little more about love?
What would be the very quality of love, if not the one of oneness, if not the one of understanding clearly, factually, that all there is in this experience is known by the one consciousness that one is, and that all that there is as existence can only be known by consciousness. Therefore, knowing that all there is in our experience is consciousness is the love that we long for. When there is no longer two, that all there is to reality is the oneness, then love has found its meaning. Even when you think about a relationship, for instance, the level of mind you see two people. But the truth of the matter is that regardless of the other person appearing in front of you, what you're dealing with is what's going on within your own self. The other one is just a mirror to your own self. Therefore, there must be only one. You are relating with yourself. That which is aware of that within you is that which is aware within the other person. It is consciousness alone, playing a game with itself.
in the human experience, why is it that this thing called love, I'm talking about true love or unconditional love, flows so easily in some cases, in other cases, it's very difficult.
Because of wanting.
Sort of wanting?
At the moment, there's a wanting from something outside of you, as if there was something outside of you which does not exist, hence the wanting. As much as you want something from the outside, as much as you going against the love, as much as what you call love is a struggle that underlies control, frustration, a lack that never gets to be filled. As much as you take it in, seeing this person as pointing as things inside for all your thoughts, your emotion, your sensation, they're all your own little private world emerging out of this interaction with this other person that you've created only so that you can look within and take responsibility for all that is taking place within you as you choose to focus on. The moment you become responsible for all that takes place in yourself, as that which you choose to focus on, then and only then can you see that all there is in your experience is love. Then the other person has served the purpose. Then the other person is seen as identical to yourself. Then the other person is seen as nothing other but yourself, as consciousness. There is no need, no wanting, no desire, no attachment, no fear, no insecurity. Then whether the relationship remains or not, it's life's choice.
Life choice?
Then it's the way life moves. Then it'll be right for you. Whether it stays, whether it breaks, it'll be the right thing. And if it stays, then it's true. If it flows by itself and stays by itself, then it means it's real. Then the relationship can flower. Then the relationship can truly be used as a way to get closer and closer to oneself.
So when a relationship manifests these aspects of, let's say, true love, then is there, then an impetus, or is it desirable to make that a primary relationship, or does it matter?
As much as you understand that you are actually creating a so-called external relationship only because you seek to look at yourself, then you'll facilitate the process following which you're freeing yourself more and more, thereby maintaining something solid in the relationship, without which the relationship has no purpose.
So then that is the primary purpose.
Similarly, as much as you can be at peace with the person you happen to share a relationship with, as much as you'll heal yourself from all the things that you are in conflict with within yourself.
So as one proceeds in this journey, and one finds oneself becoming more unconditional in terms of this thing called love, how does this fit into this scenario of more than one relationship? I guess I'm coming back to this whole thing of this thing called primary relationship versus multiple relationship.
Primary relationship is with yourself.
Yes.
As clear as you are with yourself, as less you need a confirmation from the outside, as less as you're seeking the outside. As much as you understand that the whole world only takes place in yourself, as much as you are no longer needing anything from the world outside. The more you tap into consciousness and know yourself as consciousness, the less you are bound by everything other than consciousness.
Right.
The more you embrace all aspects of life within yourself, the less you need anything other than that which you are as the totality of it all. This is perfect control of the Kundalini within. This is perfect mastery of the energy flowing through your entire body. This is mastery over sexuality, over opposites. The more you acknowledge that you are consciousness and abide as consciousness, the less you are bound by the laws of polarities.
So then what I'm hearing you saying, like, it's really interesting. Like, talking about this aspect of sexuality, then what I'm hearing is that as one goes deeper into the knowing of the truth of who one is, as the less one is bound by what you say, the laws of polarity. And then I assume then that this thing called sex drive is what, less demanding or less, less of an unconscious pull, or
No longer a need.
no longer a need. Yes. Yeah.
It may take place, it may not.
Right.
You remain free.
But it's discretionary and it's not.
As much as you're in consciousness, as much as everything flows, there is a flow, there is detachment, there is no need. The less you abide as consciousness, the more you come to believe that you are bound to this mind body, thereby being led by the laws that governs such dimension, thereby being a man or a woman being attracted to the opposite in order to find a seeming sense of balance that does not exist otherwise.
It's interesting because the truth of which you are speaking is so divergent from the, let's just say, generally accepted view that seems to be held in our world. So much is based on this thing called relationship and primary relationship. And as a fulfillment of a so-called need.
Hence, inquiring into who one is truly. Never lose your attention and energy into aspects of what you call your life. For everything that is seen on that level becomes of the same nature of that which stands as the observer. If you don't know yourself, abide as the truth of yourself, as consciousness, whatever you come to experience will lie on the level of your inability to remain as consciousness, thereby creating a world of karma for yourself, being bound by your action and thoughts, and seeking to fulfill yourself in a world that does not exist.
Very potent stuff.
Welcome in the real world. It always appears as a simplistic thing to abide as oneself. Something that is useless, but there is nothing to grasp there from a place of mind body, for there is no experience there, there is no states, there isn't even nothingness as an object. There is only reality alone. Everything as it is, in infinity. No one there to remain. Hence nirvana, extinction. Extinction of all sense of separation. No one left there to experience anything. For there remains no one existing apart from everything else. Only completeness, fullness of life, hence no need, hence nothing to discard, nothing to be free from, no liberation to find, only the totality as the only reality, as nothing other than your own self, the truth of yourself, to be found here and now. You may want to call it love. True love. The love of the one.
When one starts to really embrace what you're speaking of, and starts to surrender to the depths of what's possible here, my personal experience is everything falls away. Like there's no guideposts anymore. There's no rule book. There's no, all the expectations which I have in my life, I've learned to use to guide my direction. They're all gone. And it's a very, let's just say, a very empty feeling.
Is it?
Well, I'm this, this is where I am on the path. I totally recognize on some level it can be extraordinarily full, but that's conceptual. That's not coming from the depths of me at this point.
But you see, the emptiness you're referring to is only in relation with that which you have come to see as
Yeah, that's right.
non-existent. While knowing it's non-existent, you fear the emptiness and suggesting that what you have believed in is real.
Totally.
Only a belief. None of it ever even came into existence whatsoever. Therefore, no emptiness. Emptiness of what? Emptiness of something that never came into existence. There's never been neither anything coming into existence as there's never been any emptiness. There's only been the fullness of it all. The only reality. Why do we fear? We fear something that we know deep inside for not being real. Otherwise, there would be no fear. So we fear to lose something that never came into existence. Who knows that? You know, the consciousness alone that you are, that you will be, that you will remain. You only come to realize that you've only been that all along. Somehow the clouds of separation vanish by themselves sooner or later. You come to realize that you've only been that, the consciousness.
Yeah, I personally I recognize it's a process, and I really recognize there's an unwinding going on here. It's just that in the unwinding, there's nothing to grasp. It's like free fall, surrendering into the nothingness, some level of trust.
Falling into the everythingness
Everything
is more accurate.
The nothing that is everything. I'm in mid free fall right now, as we speak. Yes. Trusting is important.
You must trust
Yes.
at all times.
Yeah.
It's not trusting one thing or another. It's choosing to trust within yourself.
Yeah.
You find that trust within yourself, then you trust everything.
Yeah.
You choose that for yourself, or this is the life you want for yourself. You must come to a place of complete clarity as to what it is you want for yourself. For yourself. Now, you choose to trust for yourself now. This is the life that comes to you. Not about people, not about this or that, money, the world, situation. It's about deciding what it is you want for yourself.
Isn't that the ego that wants, like, if we're...
It's more a place, it's more about coming to a place of truth, where you know this is truth. To choose to trust yourself is coming from a place of truth. It's not coming from a place of fear. Everything of ego is about that which does not exist. Everything about being yourself is about the truth, about the knowing, about the purity of your being, and resonating out of such a place, here and now, not tomorrow. Everything of tomorrow is from a place of selfishness. For then you worry, for then you experience a lack in the moment. As if you needed to be completed in time and from externalities, thereby coming to a place of fear, insecurity, wanting, depending. Choosing to trust is to be true to yourself, here and now. It's an act of giving, of surrendering, of sacrifice, a place of devotion, for the self has come to meet itself, be itself, for itself, into itself, for the realization has come that all there is in reality is the self. Your life, your entirety, the entirety of your life come to serve that. And this is your joy. This is what feeds you alone. The fruits of service.
Can you talk a little more about the actual experience of abiding while engaging with the world? Is it kind of like just remaining in an open, observing state? Like, is there really any choice that happens?
Choice takes place in that. Out of a place of perfect clarity, the right thought, the right action will take place accordingly, without any doubt.
It doesn't really have anything to do with you, it just kind of arises.
Everything just arises, whether you're aware of it or not aware of it, whether you assume to be this mind body or not, everything arises according to wherever your attention goes. If you believe to be this mind body as you are led by the thoughts, you come to assume that you are this separate self, bound to this mind body, acting out as a I thought, believing that you are the one to make a choice out of this place of identification with the mind body. And yet, you are the awareness of it, out of which a choice will also be taking place of its own accord. Either way, it all happens by itself. It is the consciousness that is at the heart of all thoughts and actions, that is at the heart of all worlds. The less you identify with the mind body, as you understand that you are awareness first and foremost, the less your thoughts and your choice or actions will bind you, thus remaining free from karma. The more you believe that you are this mind body, the more your thoughts, your actions, your choice will bind you, having to feed yourself of the fruits of your thoughts, your actions, your choice. So how to free oneself from karma? Know that place in you that is already free and abide as that. The more you abide as that, the more freedom you'll experience from thoughts, actions, choice. Naturally, effortlessly.
So to rest in awareness, is this an effortless thing, or is there effort needed?
Well, as much as you find yourself following thoughts, as much as it'll require an equal intensity of presence in order to remain as the awareness that you are. At the moment you tap into awareness, then then no effort is needed.
And so, say you tap into this awareness, is this something that you recognize?
It recognizes itself. And comes to abide as itself, by itself, for itself. Effort is used as a consent of not acknowledging that all there is in your experience is awareness alone. So effort as free will is used in that manner. As much as you are not experiencing directly the awareness that you are, as much as you make the endeavor to acknowledge the truth in your experience, as much as you're using free will in the right manner, as you're using the right thought and right action for that very purpose, till it is revealed that all there is in your experience is awareness alone. From a place of mind, it appears as if awareness is something outside, right? Something we have to drive ourselves towards as a daily practice. But the truth of the matter is that it's the other way around, meaning that awareness is found as being within existence and must be found within existence. Otherwise, it's a partial understanding of what awareness is about. Otherwise, it don't realize that there is someone there apart from it, trying to become it, or trying to become one with it as if it was outside, when it is the only thing that gives you any possible sense of sentience, when it is the sentience, when it is the intelligence, the being, when it is the existence, nothing else. You may tell yourself, you look around, you see the room. From a place of mind, you see a room. You're experiencing a perception. If you do inquire carefully, what are you seeing exactly? What are we seeing exactly? There is a seeing. Within that seeing, there is a knowing. For there must be a knowing in order to see anything. That knowing is consciousness. No consciousness, no nothing. Everything is consciousness. Even when in mind. The only reason why you may say I'm in mind is because of the thoughts you may be following. That gives you an illusion of being in the mind. You take the thoughts as they are in your mind at the moment, look into it. What do you see? The knowing of it. That is consciousness. There is only consciousness. Everything else is a play. Everything else does not exist. Everything else as a part from consciousness. I mean, but yes, everything appears in consciousness. From a place of consciousness, everything is real. From a place of not seeing consciousness, everything is unreal. See the difference? So as the famous quote, Advaita, the world is an illusion, only Brahman is real. The world is Brahman. So welcome everything of existence as it is. Your thoughts, emotions, sensation. Hold your perception within consciousness. You will see. All there is consciousness. Everything gets resolved in consciousness, from a place of consciousness, on all levels, mentally, physically, emotionally. See everything in the light of consciousness. You will see consciousness alone. Everything will resolve in consciousness. It's like this.
then duality is non-duality. Right? So there is no illusion.
Duality is only on the level of what arises out of non-duality. It's a point of view. Just a point of view, as is the realm of spirit or the realm of matter. You could say the same with consciousness and manifestation. All points of view. Reality is the infinity of being. All and nothing simultaneously. Consciousness, a supreme intelligence. One's own self. The true nature of reality. Supreme being. Thank you, everyone.